After finishing Kingdom Come Deliverance 2, it is now time for the final review. If you have not watched the previous video yet, the preview that I did, please do so, because this video builds upon that. This is the first time I've been able to review a game in its entirety before release. I'd like to thank Toby from Warhorse and Mike from PlayOn for allowing me to have a seat on this roller coaster. As a Kingdom Come Deliverance 1 fan, I have gone through great lengths to make sure that there's no spoilers in this video. However, because you're gonna see some footage from both the Trosky and the Kuttenberg areas, there's going to be some spoilerage going on. So please bear that in mind. The main story spoilers are not gonna be in this video. You're still here? Let's talk about it. Kingdom Come Deliverance is the story of Henry, a blacksmith's boy who in Kingdom Come Deliverance 1 ends up as a squire to Hans Capon of Perkstein. If you are a Kingdom Come Deliverance 1 fan, this will immediately bring a smile to your face. And don't worry, in the early prologue section of the game, which will take you at least a couple of hours to complete, you will learn about the events that took place in KCD 1, so it is not a necessity to play through it. Although my recommendation here still stands. If you have played Kingdom Come Deliverance 1, Kingdom Come Deliverance 2 is going to hit a whole lot harder. KCD 2 plays like a proper RPG, which means you have many ways to solve a situation. You can use your words to resolve a situation if you pass the necessary skill checks.
You have my word. Just set her free.
Alright. Alright. Just take it easy. I'm letting her go. Look!
You can also say the wrong thing, which means things don't go your way.
And walked away. Now you'll have all our deaths on your conscience. Suck it up.
Or you can simply take a shortcut and avoid the battle altogether.
Go to hell.
This is something that happens throughout the game, and no one quest, including the main story quests, have just one way to solve it. There's multiple ways to attack the situation and come to a resolution. Now, one of the things you're gonna have to get used to is the in-game menu, which is absolutely massive. The prologue will gradually introduce you to how it all works, so while it seems daunting on screen, you will quickly make it your own. I would often find myself distracted in Trosky, which also includes the crafting minigames such as alchemy. I also love Henry will let you know what you did wrong if you miss a step.
I boiled that belladonna for too long.
The weather changes often, and with it the world. While people would sit outside during the sunny times, you would find them inside when it rains. This adds to the immersion of the game. Another thing the game shows off to perfection is God rays. Was it all great? No, the trees sometimes showed this bloom effect, but given how the game looks the other 95% of the time, it almost feels like nitpicking to me. There's plenty of small touches I liked, one of which being the fact that when you load into the game, the main menu screen changes with progression. This one in particular looked awesome. I spent most of the time doing side quests in Trosky, and every single one of them I liked. Now there's some quests that take longer and other ones they're very short, but overall the experience has been great. While you can push the main quest, some side quests in Trosky are a must, like meeting up with Tomcat to learn the Masterstrikes. Without them, you'll struggle when it comes down to sword fighting. Some quests involve moving items and such. Medial tasks, sure, but they come with great rewards to your stats in return. However, you got to be mindful how you act though, because reputation is easily lost.
No, it doesn't bother me. And if you don't shut your trap, I'll beat you like an animal.
Another thing that is important to stay on top of is checking the books you pick up. Some of them can improve your perks if you take the time to read them. A big plus for Kingdom Come Deliverance 2 is that they show you that there's something massive about to happen in the story. This happens through a splash screen, which lets you know instantly there's about to be a defining moment, so you can wrap up any loose ends before progressing with the main story. It would take me 45 hours before I made it to the next map, the bigger map of Kuttenberg. There were still parts of the Trosky map that I did not see in these 45 hours, and there was also still content left that I could do. I fully suspect you could spend upwards of 60 hours in Trosky alone before making it to the Kuttenberg region. There are quite a few things that were improved, and the following mechanic is one of them. There are times that you're given the option to fast travel while following, but if you don't, you get to see the countryside while your hands are off the controller. This is a relaxing experience, and I recommend you give it a try when the prompt shows up for you. To stick with horse riding, shrubbery is no longer an obstacle, which was a major issue in Kingdom Come Deliverance 1, and you can now ride straight through it. Thank the maker, but you still gotta watch out for those pesky low arches. The following mechanic is also there when you are on foot, and quests do save at a more regular interval as well without having to use a Savior Schnapps, which is the consumable save game mechanic, which I explained in the previous video. Hitting the city of Kuttenberg for the first time is a sight to behold. It also shows another mechanic I appreciate, being able to have your horse follow a path so the only input you have is spurring them on. The rain stops here as we enter Kuttenberg, but the road remains wet and the dew is still in the air. The city is fully alive and there's stuff going on everywhere. Warhorse has really put some work in this game, and it shows, because in the previous one, when you went into Ratai, even on my new PC, my FPS would tank. Here, that's no longer the case. In fact, in some cases, the city runs better than the outside world. And to bring God Rays back, the Kuttenberg map also shows that Kingdom Come Deliverance is truly the king of God Rays. Absolutely breathtaking. I would often find myself riding through the weather as well, and thunderstorms are some of the most beautiful looking things in the game. And then you enter an inn, seeing the hue of the fire, almost feeling the warmth coming off of it. It brings a level of immersion with it. During my playthrough, I focused heavily on swords and neglected the heavy weapons such as the polearm. Later in the game, the decision came back to haunt me, but because I was still proficient with the sword, the day was saved, again highlighting that Masterstrikes are a must thing to learn early on.
Undisputed winner is Henry of Scullets. He's defeated his rival with an incredible performance.
Another thing that I love, next to Pebbles of course, is MUTT. He is not just a dog, but a true companion, and he has some great functions. So for instance, while it is very possible to track objectives by looking at the signs around you, in some cases you can use MUTT to do the tracking for you. He's a true companion. While it's important to keep him away during more stealthy missions, in these cases he truly is invaluable. I also love the Farkle minigame and have rolled quite a few dice, although sometimes I do lose.
Come to Papa.
That's what the smiting of Sodom must have looked like.
You stink to high heaven.
And sometimes I also lose twice in a row. And then someone says something
If you were smart, you wouldn't be so stupid.
that sometimes results into, well...
Are you trying to threaten me?
Oh God, a murder! I hear a
I also love and hate the Handcannon. It is just completely unusable, at least for me. It's probably a skill issue, but just look at this. I shot at this rooster quite a few times. And then I grabbed the bow and instantly plucked it. And then I think the lack of skill that I showed with the Handcannon emboldened this guy. Which is his mistake.
Look out! You're aiming that thing right at me!
Same for this dude. And this guy was safe. Because I cannot hit the broadside of a barn with the Handcannon.
Here for me.
You stink like a wet dog.
And then there's the lockpicking. I must admit that I did not do a lot of it, and as a result, even the medium locks were nearly impossible to do, like here.
Damn.
Were there points of frustration during Kingdom Come Deliverance 2? Yes, there were. There was one side quest where I had to look for the equivalent of a needle in a haystack, and no matter how long I looked for it, 30 minutes, I didn't find it. So I gave up, did the quest the easy way, which is a good thing that there's multiple ways to do quests, but I did not like doing it. Then walking through Kuttenberg is amazing, but then you see this church. I wasn't able to go in it, and then when I jumped and took a peek inside, it showed an unfinished interior, which is kind of a bummer. It kind of takes you away from that little immersion thing. And then there's the forging of horseshoes. I was never able to get it done right until I ended up recording another attempt, despite getting close to messing up a couple of times, and Henry lets you know that.
Sucker. I'm doing something wrong.
I still ended up succeeding.
That looks good. Now just to temper it.
So I guess it was a skill issue, and that kind of sums up Kingdom Come Deliverance 2. If you're not good at something at the beginning, you will get better at it if you stick with it. And that is something that some people not going to be able to get over. But for me, it added to the immersion. Because when you do something in real life for the first time, you're going to mess up too. But the more you do it, the better you get at it. And that's what I loved about Kingdom Come Deliverance 2, and that's what really sucked me in. All in all, I spent 92 hours in game and finished the main storyline with a whole lot of side quests left to clear. The story has been filled with characters to love and hate. The world is vivid and alive. The side quests are crafted very well, and the main story quests are next level. And if there's one advice that I can give you right now is don't rush it. Especially the story quests. Take your time, because there's ways to do it the easy way and then miss out on a ton of great story quests and writing. Kingdom Come Deliverance 2 has made me laugh and has made me cry. This is a great experience, and I cannot wait for you to experience what I have. In fact, I'm a little bit jealous, because you are going to go through it the first time, and I might have to start the second time. My first review was Review Henry. My second Henry is going to be My Henry. And that also tells you something else. Replayability on this, because of all the choices you can make, is also second to none. As far as a review score, we're sitting at 9.5 out of 10. That half is almost something that you shouldn't have to mention. But it's still there. There's little nitpicky things that don't sit well with me. And I've talked about them. But if there's any game that is close to a 10 out of 10, it's this one. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. Please consider subscribing if you've watched my content and you enjoy it. Hashtag game for the sake of gaming. And I'll see you guys on the flip side. Take care. And let me know what you think of Kingdom Come Deliverance 2. Great stuff.